Hello everyone, welcome again to another edition of Bigfoot Weekly. Today is Tuesday, August 13th, 2013. I did something a little bit different because I ran short on time this weekend. I did a redux of a May 27th video on Native American Bigfoot. And so it features a researcher named J.C. Johnson, who I thought his work was fascinating. So if you've already seen his stuff, please forgive me. It was just kind of one of those weekends, but hope you enjoy. Thanks. All right, this is a blog entry from a radio show in Portland, Oregon, and this was not part of my original May 27th video, but I found this mind-blowing, actually. It's a brief history of the Native Americans in the northwest region of the country in Oregon and Washington, and these tribes are very familiar with one tribe in particular called the Siatik, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right or not, but the Siatik Indians were large and hairy, and depending on how your interaction was with them, they could be dangerous. On the other hand, they could be pretty benign. So the read it's kind of mind-blowing, and it leads me to believe that Native Americans, obviously they have a history of interaction with these, what they call these tribes or Sasquatch, and seem to have a much better understanding of their origin and of these abilities that they seem to have. Anyway, check it out. You won't regret it. It's really interesting. This video was posted by a North American Indian woman named Charlene. She lives in the British Columbia area, and she goes into her understanding of Sasquatch, stories of sightings from her father, her husband, and stories that have been handed down to her regarding Sasquatch, who they are, what they're like. Anyway, it's about 4 minutes or so, and it's kind of nice to hear it directly from, a Native American, especially a woman. So it's kind of interesting. Give that a shot. This is the main reason why I was kind of looking forward to doing a redux on the May 27th video. Crypto Four Corners is an investigative team that was put together by J.C. Johnson, specializing in investigations in the Four Corners area, specifically on Indian reservations. This video, I think, was done in 2006. YouTube says it was posted 2011. It only has about 3,000 hits, so that's not very much, and I think that the title may have something to do with that. I don't think many people search under hominids, but his work is absolutely interesting. When I first found his channel, he's got several videos that are just chock full of interesting stuff, and we're going to cover a couple more of his videos. But this one, down the road here, he investigates a Sasquatch sighting, and here he interviews a Native American young man who had a sighting near a river bottom, and that kicked off an investigation on that Indian reservation. But these videos they're great. I mean, I go back from time to time, just watch them over again because they're that interesting. But anyway, I hope you enjoy them as well. Let's move on to another one. Here's one called the Night Stalker. He investigates complaints from a family whose daughter, this is her here, is being plagued by some creature who keeps coming up to their home, scratching on windows, banging on the outside walls, just terrorizing her in the middle of the night. And that's her father standing in the background with a baseball cap on. And this went on for a while, and Dad was ready one night when he heard the goings on. He jumped out of bed and ran outside and saw absolutely nothing. So it's been a mystery. And JC's his take on this is that it is not a Sasquatch, that it's some other kind of creature. I think because of the claw, sort of the scratch and claw marks that it's left behind would not generally be made by a Sasquatch, but interesting nonetheless. I think this family and these events that they're describing have also been featured on other shows on television. I do remember seeing this on another show. So hopefully this poor girl is no longer being tormented by whatever this thing is, but there's Dad there. He talks about it as well. Anyway, interesting video. Again, JC, good work here. I can't express to him how much I wish he'd kind of go back in the field and revisit some of these sites to see kind of how things are going. I know the Native American people in New Mexico are about fed up with all of the paranormal and all of the goings on their reservation. Anyway, I'll leave the link to this one too. Check it out. Here's a third J.C. Johnson video entitled Sheep Slaughter, and this story will raise a hair on the back of your neck. He investigated a sheep slaughter. Here, you can read this. 2010. He spoke with a Native American woman who she either lives on the premise or nearby. I can't remember. But he's interviewing her, and there are pictures from the actual slaughter. And I'm not going to give this away in case you haven't seen it, but there are some amazing sort of details about the slaughter that just do not add up, and it's really interesting. These kinds of things go on in these Indian reservations all the time, and I think these reservations are ripe for investigators like JC. See, there's an actual picture of the sheep slaughtering. One thing you'll notice is that there's no blood. So anyway, check this out. This video is absolutely riveting. Well, maybe not riveting. It's interesting. But yeah, he did an outstanding job of investigating this as well. This was one video that I that I found fascinating. So I'll leave this one for you as well. Hope you enjoy. This video is entitled "On the Trail of Swampfoot." JC interviews a Navajo police officer who's jogging at night, and it's dark, so he's not able to see very well. But he said something was sitting on a guardrail, and as he ran by, it stood up, and when it stood up, it alarmed him because it was pretty tall and dark. And so the interview's interesting, and from there JC goes on an investigation. But it's interesting, the things that go on in these reservations. And this officer Trevor, did admit that it scared him, and he ran to a relative's house after this thing stood up, and then he realized how tall or how big it was after it stood up. Anyway, these are really interesting videos. He's got more. Not all of them are Bigfoot related. Some are just mysteries, just sort of unsolved mysteries as to what's really going on there. And I don't know why the Indian reservations they seem more prone and more susceptible to this kind of stuff. But anyway, it is interesting. So check out these videos, and I'll leave a link to JC's channel. Here's something you probably don't hear about every day. Here in Arizona, specifically on the Navajo reservation, the Navajo Police Department is actually set up to investigate any complaints of the paranormal, any strange occurrences, whether they're UFO or howlings or livestock being killed. Whatever it is, the Navajo Police Department is equipped to investigate. I mean, they take the report seriously, and they do follow-up investigations. This is a 14 or 15 minute clip here, probably 14 minutes or so of that was done by News Channel 5, a local news channel here in Phoenix, Arizona, about the Navajo Police Department and their investigations and some of their findings. I didn't watch the entire thing today, but I have in the past, and I thought there was some reference in there to Bigfoot as well. But this should give you an idea, you know, of all of the stuff that goes on these Indian reservations, such that they set up a, you know, a group to investigate, you know, specifically investigate these kinds of complaints. Check it out, it's interesting. Last one here. This is a History Channel documentary. It's actually History 2, I believe. The title on the YouTube video says Native American and Bigfoot, but the actual title is Legend of the Hairy Beast. What's different about this episode on the History Channel, I think this was published in 2008, so it's a few years old, but it focuses entirely on the Native American Bigfoot in the northwest part of the North American continent. So there are lots of interviews and personal accounts and stories from the Native Americans in the area. There's also an investigation with Bobo Fay and Cliff Barackman as well. And so I found this interesting. I did watch it in its entirety today and found it interesting, so I'll post a link to this as well. Alright, that's all I've got this week. Apologize again. I promise to do better next week, and I want to thank those of you who've been with me from the start, and any new subscribers as well. Thanks very much.